Good afternoon, members of the Commission, staff. My name is Miras. I'm from the Environmental Health Coalition. We're a 27-year-old environmental justice organization based here in the South Bay region of San Diego. Our goal is to ensure that all South Bay residents can live, work, and play in a healthy environment. And as members of California's AB 32 Environmental Justice Advisory Committee and SANDAG's Energy Working Group, we are committed to creating a sustainable energy future for Chula Vista and California. I'm here today to voice the concerns of our members living in Southwest Chula Vista who see this proposed new power plant as a threat to this goal. The replacement of the current 44.5 megawatt plant with a plant on the same lot with a 122% increase in energy capacity is unacceptable given the proposed plant's location, potential for emissions, and lack of renewable energy development. EHC has identified several elements to this project that we oppose and cite reasons why this new power plant is the wrong thing at the wrong place at the wrong time. First, poor location. The new power plant, like the one it is replacing, remains in a very poor location. Roughly 1,500 feet. Actually, we did revised numbers. It's actually closer to 1,300 feet from an elementary school and only about 300 feet from the nearest residential neighborhood. The plant represents one of the worst examples of siting possible. Moreover, the new power plant's proposed location violates the city's values and goals as expressed in the recently adopted Chula Vista General Plan. The General Plan Policy E6.4 expressly directs the city to avoid siting new or repowered energy facilities and other major toxic emitters within 1,000 feet of a sensitive receptor. Now, it's not disputed that the plant will be within 1,000 feet of a sensitive receptor. However, MMC misreads and/or misunderstands the policy when they argue that their proposed new power plant should not be included as a major toxic emitter. The use of the words "and other" in the sentence indicates that, under a plain meaning of the text, the city clearly intended new or repowered energy sources to be considered major toxic emitters. Now, EHC has intimate knowledge about the specific policy because we're the ones that proposed it. So if there's any discussions about legislative intent, we'd be happy to talk to you about it. Also, given the fact that most of the vital parts of the plant are new, this should be considered a new plant, not just a mere upgrade. The creation of a new facility on a previously empty portion of a lot with, once again, a 122% increase in capacity could not reasonably be considered an upgrade. The proposed power plant is based on the information in the AFC. Basically, a new power plant, this is a new power plant that's using a limited amount of recycled equipment. It's a new power plant. Now, in terms of land use, specifically land use designation, which is closely related to the poor siting issue, is the fact that the site and adjacent parcels are both considered limited industrial. As one of the speakers mentioned earlier, it could be described also as light industrial. According to the city's ordinance creating the designation, the purpose of the limited industrial zone is to encourage sound limited industrial development by providing and protecting an environment free from nuisances created by some industrial use and to ensure the purity of the total environment of Chula Vista. Power plants are not included as the list of permitted or conditional uses for this designation. Despite the fact that in the application for certification, MMC argues that the new power plant is a type of manufacturing. No, it's a power plant. And we agree with CE staff that this is an example of heavy industrial use, which again is not permitted under the current limited industrial designation. Now, the current 44 megawatt plant needed a conditional use permit to be issued by the city of Chula Vista. Now, however, the new proposed power plant will be more than twice that size at 100 megawatts, a much larger power plant. And this clearly is outside the intent of the ordinance to create a zone for limited industrial development. By the intent and letter of the applicable zoning ordinances, a 100 megawatt power plant should not be permissible in this current zoning designation. Therefore, when the AFC states that the new power plant would be consistent with the light industrial zoning character of the area, this is in fact untrue, since by its very definition, the limited industrial designation doesn't include power generation, either as a permissible use or as a conditional use. The the AFC also states that the current power plant represents an existing allowable use under the current general plan. This is not entirely correct. The plant was only able to be placed at this location through a special conditional use permit by the city, exempting the project from the general plan requirements. MMC states that the surrounding area is designated industrial. This is misleading. Much of the surrounding area is designated limited industrial, and also north of Main Street it's mostly residential. Areas designated and developed residential are only about 350 feet away. A school and this recreational center are roughly 1,300 feet away, and additional residences adjacent to the elementary school roughly 1,800 feet away. Overall, there are 9 schools located within 2 miles of this power plant. Now, in terms of air quality, we haven't had enough time to chance to fully evaluate the air emissions data. While in general, we support modernizing old power plants, and we understand that for comparable amounts of emissions, the region would receive more energy for burning the same amount of gas. However, the pollutant that we are worried most about in communities is particulate matter, or PM. And according to the AFC, the potential of PM emissions is higher, and the source is closer to sensitive uses. Again, it is the location of the project that is a significant obstacle. We believe that the analysis provided understates the increases in pollution. A more accurate analysis would be to compare the real emissions of the current plant and the expected and maximum emissions of the new plant. Similarly, at the presentation just given, MMC compared the emissions of the current facility and the proposed facility based on 500 hours of operation. The numbers are relatively comparable. However, once again, these numbers are misleading. The old power plant, in its 6 years of existence, never ran to 500 hours a year. In fact, some years it didn't run at all. Meanwhile, this new facility, according to some sources, will run for 1,000 hours a year or more. And the plant's technical potential is 4,500 hours. Where these analyses run, the results will be quite different. Moreover, with regard to the air quality data, there is insufficient information about the cumulative impacts to the surrounding community. The proposed new power plant, with the increase in the hours that it will run, will likely add more pollutants to the area. In addition, any air quality information must include the likely emissions from the ammonia trucks that will be coming down Main Street to fill up the 12,000-gallon ammonia tank once every 2 or 3 weeks, which is what the AFC states.